Hi, my name's Ed. I'm a Northeast parent and I live on Christopher Circle. I just wanted to make a little video to visually explain why I think having parent drop-off traffic leave on Christopher Lane is a bad idea. In the recent survey, this was referred to as Plan B. The first thing I think that's going to be a problem with Plan B is congestion and car traffic. If you look at our current situation, once a parent has dropped their child off at school, we have about 1,500 feet, as marked in that yellow line and measured on Google Maps, for backup, for buffer. So let's say that there's a lot of traffic on Warren Road, people can't pull out, or there's weather, or a lot of parents pull up at once. We have 1,500 feet to deal with that without anyone being really inconvenienced other than maybe a little slowdown. If we move that exit to the south, we're actually cutting that buffer zone in half. So therefore, we're lessening our ability to deal with congestion. So then, therefore, our cars are going to get backed up, and what's going to happen? Well, I don't know. But secondarily, we're going to reduce our buffer zone for congestion, and we're going to put it directly in front of where the town does a lot of staging for things like tree work, plows, other stuff. And a lot of that happens at the same time school is starting in the morning. I live on Christopher Circle, so I see it all the time. So we are going to have an additional congestion problem in our shortened congestion buffer zone. That's not the only problem. Right here is a view looking straight. We're looking perpendicular at Christopher Lane from Christopher Circle, and what you're seeing in front of us, you can stand there and see it yourself, is Winthrop is up above. And what I'm doing is I'm drawing two lines there. The top line is the elevation change in Winthrop. The bottom line is the elevation change on Christopher Lane. The top line, Winthrop kind of curves around a lot, so it's not even as steep as that top line makes it appear. Christopher Circle, a subtle difference, but an important difference, is Christopher Circle is a lot steeper than Winthrop, and it gets increasingly steep the closer you get to Warren Road. I have actually had trouble in the past on snowy or icy days, even being able to make it up Christopher Lane onto Warren Road. I've had to sort of back up and make it around. But even if we got the town to plow it or salt it immediately in the morning so the elevation wouldn't be a problem for a car to make it up Christopher Lane, that elevation contributes to the visibility problem when you're trying to look left onto Warren Road. I understand the Plan B description included a request to have these people trim their bushes. Well, they do trim their bushes, actually. They trim them every summer. It doesn't really help. And secondarily, you have some big trees there. So if the bushes were removed entirely, you still couldn't see left nearly as well as you can from Winthrop. And you got to remember, too, that since Christopher Lane is going up at an angle, you're sitting lower in your car. It's even more difficult to see left onto Warren Road. This is going to cause congestion because people can't see left as well. And it also is going to decrease safety. People are going to get fed up and they're going to pull out, maybe at times where it's not safe to do so. I would actually suggest a blinking yellow light there if you're going to do this, to warn people about the school traffic pulling out. Let's compare that to Winthrop. As you can see, looking left on Winthrop onto Warren Road, it's so clear that if that tree did not have leaves on it, you can actually see the crosswalk at DeWitt Middle School from there. A lot greater visibility looking left, a lot safer of an intersection for cars to pull out. And therefore, this does not cause congestion, and you have more room to deal with that congestion. But the real thing we should be talking about is pedestrian safety. And since we're an educated community, I don't mind mentioning history for a moment. Christopher Circle, Blackstone, and Rote, these were some of the earliest neighborhoods that were built around Northeast. And the reason that's relevant is because if you compare the sort of the pink purple area at the bottom, that's what I'm talking about, where Blackstone is and Christopher Circle and Rote. Well, the difference between that pink area at the bottom and the blue, green, and red areas is that the other areas all have pedestrian safety paths, right? You probably have seen these when you're kind of walking around the neighborhood. All of the kids in that pink area at the bottom have to walk to school in the street. There's very little sidewalks except for a little bit on Hanshaw there. So those kids, again, all the kids in the purple area are walking in the street. And as I kind of illustrated in the previous slides, there's going to be a congestion problem pulling out onto Warren Road. So what are cars going to do? They're going to turn right. Instead of trying to take a left onto Warren Road, they're going to take a right and go down Christopher Lane to kind of sneak out that way. Well, first I want you to notice how narrow that street is, right? Like that crosswalk leads directly into a snowbank in the winter. You literally have to walk in the street. And the speed limit on this road is 30 miles an hour. As you can see here, it's steep. And also, the irony is you could say, well, we'll reduce the speed limit and we'll get a crossing guard. But no one crosses there. Everybody, if you look down, you can see the entrance on Lower Christopher Circle. You can see Blackstone's entrance. Remember, pedestrians are supposed to walk on the left. So by the time they've made it to the rear entrance of Northeast Elementary, they've already crossed the street. So that crossing guard would be helping maybe about 5 or 6 students a morning, and that's it. And so the real issue here is that Plan B is going to take traffic and it's going to direct it into that purple area from the previous slide where kids have to walk in the road anyway. And so that's a secondary. So there's a car safety issue with cars pulling out on Christopher Lane, and there's a pedestrian issue that you're going to be directing traffic to where kids don't have the paths to make it safer. But I don't want to be negative without making a positive suggestion. My kids' previous school had this great system where they got older kids who didn't have anything to do before school, and they gave them the job of working the parent drop-off in the morning. Because you got to remember, a kindergartner, a first grader, they can't open a car door. And so what they did is they got little safety vests, and they got the middle school kids to stand there in the morning and open and close car doors to speed up the process. The parents loved it. The parent does not have to get out of the car to open the door for the kid. It speeds it up. Everybody knows that it's going that way. Because the other thing that happens at Northeast is we love our kids so much that a lot of parents get out of the car and they're hugging their kid for 10 minutes before the kid goes into school. That's a lovely sentiment, but it really slows down the process. And so if we kind of make it more of a system where the parent pulls up, someone helps the kid get out of the car, and then the parent pulls away, that would speed it up tremendously and cost the least amount of money. You don't have to put in sidewalks. You don't have to change school zones. You don't have to redirect traffic, anything like that. So I'm begging you, please use your pre-existing infrastructure. Just find a way to do it a little bit more efficiently. And again, my name is Ed Schneider. I'm a Northeast parent, and that's my suggestion for our parent drop-off situation.